Hello and welcome to today's League of Legends Roundup, where I cover the games that took place in the LPL and LCK. We're going to start with the LPL. For both series went 2-0, as you can see. Expected pretty much. Yesterday, if you watched my sneak peek, you'd see that I thought there was a chance that anyone's Legend could win a game. And honestly, LNG played right into their hands. And similarly to Victory 5 and Thunder Talk, it happened once again where the better team kind of allowed the lesser team to have a chance. So, game one. By the way, if you haven't watched one of these videos before, clearly I take the notes. This saves you the time of going back in the VOD or watching a highlight video. So, game one, LNG would go mid at 3 minutes. Anyone's Legend would respond by getting a pick 2 minutes later. Doinby on a Kled would go top lane and solo kill ZDZ. ZDZ had almost died under turret and tried to back off, and by that point, Doinby was allowed to roam top and get the solo kill. Anyone's Legend then takes a mountain. LNG dive top again. And then at 13 minutes, Anyone's Legend gets another pick. So at 15 minutes, LNG are up only 3-2. Doinby is 1-0-2, and LNG have a 2.5k gold lead. During laning phase, LNG attempted 3 different plays and were successful on all of them, going top lane. And Anyone's Legend did not attempt any ganks, dives, or roams. Their picks were due to vision and, going down getting kills in the jungle. So, LNG take a Hex Tech after 13 minutes. LNG then go top lane. They get a couple kills in the river. They go top lane again. So by 20 minutes, LNG have went to the top side of the rift 5 times. If you watched my sneak peek video yesterday, like I just mentioned earlier, I said Ale must be able to stay in lane. They must be able to keep him in the side lane and get him ahead. And they sure did. In this one, he taking advantage of the Gwen against the GP. So at 20 minutes, Tarzan is 4-1-2 after doing all this movement on the Sejuani. They have a 5.5k gold lead, and they're up 7-2 in kills. They then take an Infernal. 22 minutes, LNG take a Baron uncontested at 7.5k gold lead as a result. 23 minutes, LNG get a pick shortly after taking the Baron. However, Anyone's Legend would respond in the jungle, a 4-0 teamfight win, Betty with a double that forced LNG to back off, and Anyone's Legend were able to take a Infernal to match Drake's 2-2. 30 minutes, LNG would take their second Baron. So between 25 and 30 minutes, we had no kills. And between 22 and 30 minutes, LNG were not able to get ahead at all because they took the Baron, and Anyone's Legend responded with that 4-0 in the jungle. They took their next Baron, and now they only have a 7k lead. So actually, in 8 minutes, their gold lead had actually depleted by 500k. 30 minutes right after the Baron, LNG, there's a fight in mid that goes 2-2. LNG then take an Infernal Soul. I'm not Infernal Soul, but go to, sorry, my nose itches. LNG go to Infernal Soul point. 32 minutes, Anyone's Legend for the second time are able to stop the Baron push 2-1 in bot. At this point, at 32 minutes, LNG are up only 11-10 in kills. And Doinby is 4-3-5. Forge is 2-4-7. I said yesterday they had to get Forge on a Swain if they wanted to succeed, and they did. Despite being 2-4-7, Forge was dealing a ton of damage and was very hard to kill in the late game in this one. But at 35 minutes, LNG would end 5-3 in mid. Doinby, Light, and ZDZ all with doubles. LNG were 0-2 on the power play. Anyone's Legend did not get any. Game 2. We saw an interesting pick, a Yone mid. We haven't seen Yone in a minute. Slow early game. LNG would take an Infernal at 7 minutes in a 2-1 teamfight win, Light with a double. That was first blood. 9 minutes, LNG get a Rift Herald after getting a kill. They then take a Mountain, and at 13 minutes, laning phase ends. LNG up 3-1, gold relatively close. Doinby 0-3 on a Swain. Doinby ends up being MVP, and I'll explain a little bit afterwards. 14 minutes, Anyone's Legend go top lane, and then get a Rift Herald themselves after getting a kill. So at 16 minutes, really, it's back and forth. During laning phase, LNG were the only ones who attempt to play 0-1. Anyone's Legend didn't really attempt any ganks that actually they really, went for. Obviously, a player going into lane is not going to be enough for me to say, oh, well, they ganked Dove or Roam. If the other team doesn't even know they're there and they reset, and, that's nothing to me. LNG go to Ocean Soul Point before 18 minutes where there's a fight in the river that goes 2-2. And then LNG take Ocean Soul at 22 minutes, 2-1. So at 22 minutes, LNG already have Ocean Soul in game 2. 24 minutes, there's a skirmish in the jungle that goes 1-1. And then a minute later, Light gets a double kill in the jungle as part of a 2-1. 26 minutes, LNG take a Baron, giving themselves a 3k lead. They're up 10-8 in kills. Light is 6-0-2 on a Ezreal at this time. As the Baron was coming to an end, LNG would win a fight in mid 3-0, Doinby with a double, and then Anyone's Legend would defend, so the Baron would subside. LNG up 6.5k gold now, the Baron doubling their gold lead. At 30 minutes, LNG would end 4-0 in the jungle, Light with a triple. Final score 18-9. As you see, game 1 was 16-13. So Doinby ends up being MVP. His Kled in game 1 was all over the place in the early game. Got them ahead. He was one that was going top. I mean, and Tarzan was as well, but, you know, when push came to shove in the mid to late game, the Sedge really wasn't as impactful, in my opinion, as the Kled. In game 2, his Swain was very important, dealing a lot of damage and being the front line at times for this team. Obviously, in the early game, playing a big role once again. I mean, Light probably deserved MVP for game 2. Because he showed up big in game 2, but really he didn't show up much at all in game 1. And vice versa for Tarzan. Tarzan showed up in game 1, but not really in game 2, at least on the scoreboard. And Doinby at least did it in both games. So Doinby ends up being MVP. Series 2 between Victory 5 and ThunderTalk Gaming. I had said, you know, you cannot allow ThunderTalk to sneak up on you if you're Victory 5. Victory 5 do not have Rookie. They have Dream in because Rookie is away from the team for the moment. And Victory 5 is not going to be allowed to play this way for the next 2 weeks until Rookie's back. If they want to make the play, I mean, not make the playoffs, but be, you know, in a decent position going to playoffs. Because, I mean, ThunderTalk's not a very good team on paper, and they struggled. I mean, 7-8, 19-15. I mean, these were not blowouts that Victory 5 should have had. I did say before this game I thought Bejuan needed to carry, and he did, in my opinion. However, Karsa ends up being MVP, and we'll get to that. So, game 1, Victory 5 take a Hex Tech to start this one off. ThunderTalk would respond in a big way, getting first blood in top lane at 8 minutes, getting the Rift Herald a minute later, including another kill. 11 minutes, Victory 5 would take an Ocean after getting a kill. ThunderTalk would then return top lane again, and then go bot lane. So at 16 minutes, mid lane. So at 16 minutes, ThunderTalk are up 4-1, 2.5k gold. During laning phase, they're 2 for 3 on their attempts to make a play. Victory 5 did not attempt any. So Bejuan on the Viego in both games really did a good job in the early game of getting his team ahead. ThunderTalk would then take a Mountain 2-1 at 17 minutes. They'd get a kill mid. And now at 20 minutes, their gold lead had just grown from 2.5k to 3.5k. And they're up 7-2 in kills. Bejuan is 2-2-4, so 6 out of 7 kill participation for the Viego. 22 minutes, there's a 1-1 in bot. Victory 5 then go to Mountain Soul Point. 26 minutes, Victory 5 win a fight 2-0 to secure a Baron. That limits the gold deficit to 1k. This is where the game turned. During the Baron, Victory 5 would then go to take a Mountain Soul after getting a kill, and then would end a minute later getting a pick and then just pushing and just constricting ThunderTalk until it was over. And final score was 7-8 for Victory 5, so they won with less kills. 1 for 1 on the power play. All they needed was the power play. Bejuan got them out to an early lead, though. ThunderTalk might be better than we thought. Really, in all actuality. You know, I said, you know, there was 2 different kinds of ways FPX could have handled Bejuan and Kled. 2 very different kind of junglers, and ThunderTalk have a carry jungler that's willing to be aggressive and make things happen, which is good. It's somebody to at least want to watch on ThunderTalk. Game 2. Early game was a lot more entertaining. At 2 minutes, we had ThunderTalk go mid, so already a gank at 2 minutes. At 5 minutes, Victory 5 would win a fight in bot 2-1. Fodic with a double. That was a 3v3. And then at 6 minutes, so a minute later, ThunderTalk would then get a 2v2 kill, which gave them Prio, gave them the Infernal. At 8 minutes, Zhao Zhang would solo kill Rich in top. Zhao Zhang with the Sejuani top lane against the Ornn for Rich. Excuse me. At 12 minutes, ThunderTalk would get their second 2v2 kill, which gave them Prio over Baron again. They'd take an Ocean. UCal would then solo kill Karsa at 14 minutes. At 14 minutes, ThunderTalk were up 6-2 in kills when laning phase would end with a 2K lead, Puff 3-0-0. The reason why ThunderTalk didn't have a bigger lead was because Karsa had gapped Bejuan big time in the jungle. He had like 2 times the amount of farm. He had like 5-headed Bejuan, and Bejuan thought Karsa was taking his camps, and he wasn't necessarily, and it just caused Bejuan to be down in farm and Karsa to be so far ahead of him. And Karsa played a big role in this game, in my opinion, on the Wukong in Game 2 and the Poppy in Game 1, although we didn't talk about it much. 16 minutes, Victory 5 get a couple kills top. ThunderTalk then respond, going to Mountain Soul Point, 4-1. Bejuan with a double on the Viego at 18 minutes. During laning phase, they were 2 for 2, ThunderTalk were, but Victory 5 hadn't attempted a play that wasn't snuffed out. Like the bot lane gank was kind of like a 3v3, so I didn't count it. 21 minutes, Victory 5 would take a Baron 3-0, Dream with a double on the Lissandra, giving them a 5.5k gold lead. They'd use that Baron to prevent Mountain Soul from going to ThunderTalk, taking a mountain themselves. After the Baron was over, ThunderTalk were up 10-8, and Victory 5 were up 7k gold. So ThunderTalk have the lead in kills, but it doesn't matter because Victory 5 are running away with this in gold. Puff is 4-1-3, Photic is 3-2-3. 28 minutes, Victory 5 prevent Mountain Soul again, taking their second of the game, 4-2. Rich with a double on the Ornn. 31 minutes, Bejuan would steal a Baron, but Victory 5 would punish them 2-0 for doing so, making the gold deficit 8k. So ThunderTalk have a Baron at this point, and actually they're able to stop Victory 5 from pushing after this in bot lane. However, ThunderTalk would get over aggressive, trying to follow Victory 5 down bot lane, wasting a ton of their Baron pressure and time, going 2-0, but they lost most of their Baron because of that. And then at 34 minutes, Victory 5 won a fight in the river, 2-0. Final score 19-15 when Victory 5 end. Both teams 0 for 1 on the power play. I mean, Victory 5 played pretty poorly, but then again, they don't have their 5 starting players. You've got to do this for another couple weeks, though, so they have to figure it out for their next series. ThunderTalk played pretty well, though. I was happy what I saw out of them. Karsa, like I said, was MVP. I thought between both games he did very well. The Wukong definitely made things happen in Game 2. And in Game 1, his Poppy was crucial. His ults were on point. There was one where he got a 2-man, and it really helped the fight. So I thought that he played pretty well. Dream did really well in Game 2 on the Lissandra, much better than he did in Game 1 on the Galio. His Galio left a lot to be desired. Trying to think, like Photic did okay in both games, did pretty good actually. Rich, got solo killed by a Sejuani, which is kind of weird, but at the same time, he was very relevant and important in Game 2 as a tank. So, Victory 5 come out of this one 1-0. We'll see how they do in their next game. Now on to the LCK. All right, now on to the LCK. We have our opening day. HLE versus the Kwangdong Freecs. KDF were the only team on this board that were in my top 25 going into this beginning of the split. As you see here, it went 1-2. KDF coming out on top. I have Elam MVP, and we'll get into that. So, Game 1. Oh, by the way, the LCK definitely lived up to the slow play memes today. I'll tell you what, I am afraid how long Fred Brion's going to take to play their games. So, Game 1, First Blood would come at 9 minutes. Before that, KDF would take a mountain. HLE got a kill in the river to get First Blood at 9 minutes. The Freecs would respond by taking a Hextech Drake. At 16 minutes, we'd have our second skirmish that resulted in kills, 1-1 in the river. HLE would then take an ocean, and laning phase would end at 17 minutes. HLE up 2-1, gold pretty much tied. HLE did not attempt a gank. They would not attempt a gank in any laning phase that I noticed during this series. On Fleek was not very aggressive, trying to make things happen. There weren't roams or nothing. KDF 0 for 1 in the first game. 22 minutes, HLE would take an ocean. KDF punishing them 2-0. So between 16 and 22 minutes, we didn't have a kill. 27 minutes, KDF would get a pick, and then that would result in Ocean Soul Point. 29 minutes, Keen would solo kill Dudu. Keen on a Gwen, Dudu on the Cal. I said yesterday they needed to get Keen on a carry and let him carry the game, and it was clear in Game 1 and Game 3 they did that, first picking the Gwen, getting him that OP champ. Game 2, he's on a Sejuani. That does not carry the game. So, got the memo overall. 29 minutes, KDF take a Baron, getting a pick to do so, giving them a 2.5k gold lead. They're up 6-2 at the time. Teddy 4-0-1 on the Ksa. KDF then go take an Ocean Soul to go, so they take Ocean Soul. 37 minutes, KDF win a fight in mid 3-0, Keen with a double. And then a minute later, as they're ending 3-2 at the Nexus, Teddy gets another double of his own. Final score 12-4. KDF do not end on the power play, but so they're 0-1. Game 2, HLE would respond. They get a 2v2 kill at 3 minutes. KDF go mid, 6 minutes. So in the first 6 minutes, we have a lot more action than we arguably had in the first 27 minutes of Game 1. So at 6 minutes, HLE won a fight in the river 3-2. Dudu and Keen exchanging doubles. This resulted in HLE taking a mountain. 9 minutes, KDF would win a fight 4-1. Fate with a double to get Rift Herald. That led to a Cloud. And at 15 minutes, laning phase would end with KDF up 7-5. Gold pretty much tied. And Fate 3-0-4 on the Ahri. Ahri becoming a big pick as always. Ahri Swain matchup. During laning phase, the Freecs were 1-for-2 on their attempts to make a play. 16 minutes, KDF would get another Rift Herald, getting a kill to do so. However, a minute later, HLE would punish them on Fleek showing up with a quadra kill 4-0 in top on the Viego. Then the game would slow down for a minute. There'd be a reset. KDF taking a Hex Tech. HLE getting a pick at 19 minutes. And at 20 minutes, HLE are up 10-8 in kills, 3k gold. Vista is 1-2-8. Vista did very well on the Rakan in this game. I'd argue that he was probably an unsung hero, as supports often are. At 24 minutes, HLE would take a Hex Tech themselves. A lot of talking. So, HLE take a Hex Tech at 24 minutes. That's a fight that went 4-2 to secure that. Dudu with a double kill. 27 minutes, KDF steal the Baron. HLE punish them 2-0 for doing so. Karis with both. That gives them a 4k deficit, so KDF now have cut into this lead. HLE would respond by going to Hextech Soul Point. KDF then get a pick. 34 minutes, HLE take Hextech Soul after getting a kill themselves. That leads to Prio over the Baron. 5.5k gold lead. At this point, at 35 minutes, HLE are up 17-11, and Vista is 1-2-15 on the Rakan. Like I said, he's an unsung hero. 16 out of 17 KP. Very impactful under the radar. 38 minutes, HLE would end 4-0 in top. Samdi with a quadra to push to end. Final score 21-11. HLE end on the power play. KDF were 0-1 when they stole that Baron. Game 3, a lot more like Game 1, not as chaotic. We had KDF taking a Cloud and First Blood coming at 7 minutes in bot lane. KDF getting a kill to do so. 10 minutes, HLE would outplay a bot dive 1-for-1, and then KDF would go top a minute later. But because they outplayed that bot dive, they had some prio in bot. HLE took an Infernal to match the Cloud from earlier. 12 minutes, KDF are up 3-1, 1.5k gold when laning phase ends. During laning phase, they are 2-for-3. Which is why Elam is the MVP. So, part of the reason. So, Game 3 is all that matters when it's MVP to me, most cases. I mean, tiebreaker situations, if multiple players really were big in Game 3, who was big in their other win or whatever, but Elam on the Nocturne made things happen in Game 3. He was active, and it was a big deal. I mean, he made things happen. Like at 15 minutes, when KDF took a Rift Herald 3-1, Elam had a double. KDF then take a mountain. At 20 minutes, they're up 6-2, 4.5k gold. 23 minutes, HLE take a mountain. KDF punish them 3-0. Teddy with a triple. That led to Prio over a Baron, an 8.5k gold lead. When the Baron would start to subside, KDF would win a fight in top 2-0. Then go to Mountain Soul Point. 29 minutes, KDF get a pick. 2 minutes later, they take their second Baron, putting them up 13k. They end off of that Baron, winning a fight 5-1. Teddy with a quadra. Final score, 17-3. KDF 1-for-2 on the power play. But Elam was important in that early to mid game, making things happen, getting the team ahead, and it just snowballed from there. You could argue Teddy also was MVP. Keen under the radar, making things happen as well. On the Gwen, dealing damage, initiating fights. You know, it was just a good game 3 out of KDF. Obviously, 17-3. They really took it to HLE. Series 2, very important, between Nongshim Red Force and DRX. Two teams that are going to be battling to try and get into the playoffs. Both scores here, that's not a glitch. Say 17-16, you might not be able to read that, which is to be anticipated. You're not necessarily supposed to be able to read the notes. I'd like you to be able to read like the big stuff, but notes are more for me. So, game 1, we had first blood at 6 minutes when Red Force would take an Infernal, winning a fight 2-1. 3 minutes later, DRX would take the next objective, a Rift Herald, 2-1 themselves. Red Force would then take a Mountain, and laning phase would end at 15 minutes, 3-3, with DRX up 1k gold. Neither team attempted a gank, dive, or roam. DRX would then take an Ocean. Then they would take another Ocean. So between 9 minutes and 22 minutes, we had no kills. At 22 minutes, DRX would take that second Ocean, but Red Force would punish them 3-2, Ghost with a double. Kana would then solo kill Deft. And then the game would slow down again between 23 and 31 minutes. There would be no kills. During that window, Red Force would not only go to Ocean Soul Point, but they would go to Ocean Soul and take the soul. 31 minutes, DRX would take a Baron. Why did I write Victory 5? Why did I do that? 31 minutes, DRX, take the Baron. NS winning the fight after 2-0, BDD with a double, which would tie up the gold. At 36 minutes, Red Force are up 9-5, BDD is 4-0-2. So the Baron ends, NS are still ahead, and DRX did nothing with the Baron. 39 minutes, DRX take a Elder, winning a fight 5-2. Ghost, Deft, and Pioshik all with doubles. I wanted to write Pioshik on here, and I didn't. Pioshik ends up being MVP. Pioshik double kill in this Elder fight, along with Deft. That leads to Prio over the Baron. They take it, 4k gold lead. During the Baron, there's a fight in top that goes 2-2, causing DRX to reset. And then at 45 minutes, Red Force would take the second Baron of the game, but DRX would win the fight that followed the second Elder, 5-3. Pioshik and BDD both exchanging doubles. Final score 17-16. Red Force were 0-3 on the power play. No, sorry. DRX were 0-3 on the power play. Red Force 0-1. Because Red Force had an Elder, so they were 0-1. They got aced right after the Elder to end the game. DRX had 2 Barons and a Elder themselves. It did not end on them. Game 2, a little more chaotic here. First blood would come at 7 minutes, but before that, DRX would take a Mountain. Red Force won a fight in bot 2-0 at 7 minutes to get the first blood. Dread with a double on the Trundle. Unfortunately for Red Force, their early lead all went into Dread's Trundle. 9 minutes, DRX would take a Rift Herald. Red Force punishing them 1-0. Red Force then take an Ocean. 14 minutes, Red Force would go bot lane a second time, winning a fight 2-0. Dread with his second double. 14 minutes, BDD would solo kill Zika under his own turret. Zika trying to dive BDD and dying as a result. So at 15 minutes, Red Force have opened this game up. They're up 6-1, 2k gold. DRX are 0-3 on their attempts to make a play. Red Force 1-2. DRX would take a Rift Herald at 15 minutes, getting a kill to do so. 3 minutes later, they take an Infernal. Red Force punishing them 1-0. 4 minutes later, DRX would get a pick, which led to Prio over the Baron. They then would take the Baron as part of a 3-0 teamfight win. Zika with a double. That gave DRX a 3k gold lead at 23 minutes. During the Baron, however, they would lose a fight for the Infernal, NS getting it, Red Force getting it 3-1. So after the Baron's over, DRX only has a 1.5k gold lead. So actually, their gold lead went from 3k to 1.5k with this Baron, so it got cut in half. NS are up 10-7 in kills. Ghost is 4-1-4. Zika 4-2-2. I do have to say, I did say that Red Force needed their carries to carry, and I thought Ghost did a very good job between these two games, despite the loss. 2 29 minutes, Red Force take a Baron of their own, 3-0, BDD with a double. This gave them a 2k gold lead. And then they would go to Infernal Soul Point with this Baron. 32 minutes, there would be a 1-to-1 fight that would force a reset out of Red Force, which allowed DRX to get Prio over the Drake. So at 35 minutes, they would take Infernal to go to Infernal Soul Point themselves 1-0. Then there would be a fight in front of Baron, I believe, at 36 minutes. That would go 2-2. Ghost with a double. This would cause a reset, and then 3 minutes later, another fight over the Baron that DRX would win 1-0, giving them a 2k gold lead. They would then go over to the Drake and win a fight 4-0. Pioshik with a double on the Kindred to end the game. Final score 17-16. DRX 1 for 2 on the power play, and Red Force 0 for 1. I keep having to look back at the board because of the way I have it positioned, but nevertheless, Pioshik ends up being MVP. Why is Pioshik MVP? Well, both games came down to the final fights pretty much, and he's the guy that had double kills in both. His Kindred was real important in Game 2. He played a big role. And in Game 1, I guess I could have picked Deft, but Deft really wasn't. It's the thing, like, Deft kind of carried in Game 1, and Zika carried in Game 2, but Pioshik was relevant in both. So that's what it came down to. If I had to pick between who carried harder, Zika or Deft, I'd have to say Zika, honestly. His Azir was pretty good in Game 2. However, it was an Azir versus Corki matchup, and that is boring as hell. We don't want that anymore. This has to end. This has to end before it starts. I could see the LCK, this being a very long split of Azir mid. But nevertheless, if you stayed tuned for the whole damn video, thank you for sticking with me. Like the video if you like it. Subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Later today, I will have my sneak peek video out where you can predict the winners for tomorrow's games, and we keep a tally and standings or whatever. And my Fnatic video came out earlier today, my last LEC preview video, as well as my last LCS preview video for Team Liquid will come out this afternoon as well. So, like I said, thank you for watching, and I hope you come back for that content.